beaver trapping. This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and today I'm with the Iowa Trapper, and he is going to show you how to catch beaver. Let's get to it.
Absolutely, sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right, Iowa Trapper, here we are. We are at your first location for the day.
Yep.
And explain to us why you picked this spot, and then show us what you're going to do.
Absolutely. So we got a nice little creek system here. As I said before, those 2-year-olds, they're traveling, they're moving, they're getting kicked out of their dens. You will be able to find beaver in any water system right now that has 2 foot of water in it because they are traveling. This spot I took you to is a well-known area. We've actually got a colony beaver in here. We got a couple dams along this creek system. So I know they're here. We just got to make the cess and get them.
Okay. So before you set your equipment, why don't you show us what you got?
Absolutely. So what I'm using, guys, is a 1/2 inch, what they call a drowning rod. This is designed to get the beaver to go down to the bottom of the creek and stay there out of sight and be dispatched. It's a one-way slide system. So once this slide goes to the top, that beaver pulls it down and he can't come back up. Very effective, very efficient. I'm using the TS85 beaver trap. I love these traps. They're really great traps. They catch them high up above the ankle bone. A lot less misses, virtually no damage. Very, very effective traps.
All right, let's see how you set it.
Absolutely.
Now, why are you picking that spot right there to set it?
What I like about this spot, we got a shallow ledge here that I can walk on no problem, and it drops off into deeper water. What's going to happen, that beaver's going to smell this caster lure we're going to put on, and he's going to come investigate it. There's enough of a ledge here, he's going to be walking before he gets to the caster that I put on the bank. You know, you can't catch them when they're swimming. You want them walking. Based on the angle of the slope coming up to the bank will determine where I put the trap placement to catch him. We prefer a back foot catch, but I'll take anything we can get. Front foot's not bad either.
Is there anything you do to enhance your chance of a back foot catch over a front foot catch?
Basically, for a back foot, you want it in a little deeper. So a beaver, when people see him swimming, you know, you see probably 2 inches of them over the top of the water. Most of that beaver is underwater. You know, it's those back feet, when he's swimming even, you know, he's 8 inches underwater. So for a back foot, I'm going to put the trap back a little farther. I kind of murked up the water here, so it's a little difficult to tell. If I wanted a front foot, I'd put it shallow in the 2 inches of water or so up here, because when he comes up to that bank, and as soon as his chest hits the dirt, that's when he puts his landing gear out. Those front feet are only going to be under about 2 inches of water, but those back feet, they're going to be down their ways about 8 inches. So that's what I do when I prefer back foot, is I'm setting deeper and farther back. Something else that a lot of people don't understand, beaver are a wide animal. You don't want that trap right in the middle of your path you want them to come. You want that offset about 3 inches. You know, their feet are a solid 8 inches apart, so you want that offset quite a ways. First thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the bottom of this rod and shove it down into the mud. Shove it down in there deep. And go ahead and set the trap. Trap is set. I'll just set it down for right now. We don't have it in its actual place yet, but I'll take my top end, just a regular rebar stake. Assuming I can get it in the, there we go. And we'll push it down into the mud. Just like so.
How many feet would you say your stake is down in the mud now?
I want at least 2 foot. A lot of guys like them 3 foot even, but where we're at, we're really clay soil. It's really, really hard. So if I go much farther than that, I'm not going to get it out without some assistance. So now I'm going to take that. I want him coming right through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that trap, levers to the bank, and I'm going to offset that a little bit. You can see where we're under. I'm touching the trap right now. We're under about 7 inches of water. That's perfect for me. He's going to come up. They'll always come downstream when they catch their scent, and then they'll circle back upstream. I will do a little bit of real subtle guiding. Find a couple of small sticks here. I will do a little bit of subtle guiding. You know, I'll put this stick here just to force him around and want to come over the trap. It's pretty much a finished set. Now all I gotta do is take my caster. I'll dip a stick in that caster lure.
Where do you get your caster lure from?
I'm using Dobbin's backbreaker lure. Works really, really well. This time of year, like I said, they're going after caster. It's their territorial deal. Anything with caster in it I've had success with, but I really like this Dobbin's backbreaker.
Where do you purchase it from?
You can purchase it from funkytraptags.com. Alan has a good selection of pretty much everything up there you need trapping related. But yeah, that's the finished set, guys.
All right.
And I have good faith in that. You know, this is awesome beaver territory. There's chewings all over the place. It's just, I like sets like this. It makes me feel confident in them.
All right, man, so your trap is set. How long are we waiting before we come back to check this thing?
With a drowning rod here in Iowa, you have an extended check. You can go up to about 3 days. To be responsible, you want 3 days, no more. But I plan to come back here tomorrow morning. I think we're going to have good success on this set.
All right, cool, man. Let's come back
Absolutely.
and see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right, man, so you set this trap yesterday. Walk me through what you're about to do.
All right, so what we did was we set a drowning rod for a beaver yesterday using a TS85 beaver trap, which is a foothold trap. We set it up here using a caster set. Beaver are very territorial. The 2-year-olds are moving right now, and the colonies are very tight and aggressive, and they do not want any foreign beaver coming to their area. So they're taking their caster, which for deer hunters is a lot, very similar to like a tarsal gland on a buck. You know, they're making their scrapes, they're territorial, and we put a false caster mound here, which basically pretends that another beaver is coming up to their area. It triggers a response, and they come up to remark it as their own, and we got one today.
All right, so let's get down in there
Absolutely.
and check it out.
Looks like a pretty good sized beaver. It's definitely at least a 2-year-old, I can tell just by the clear water here. I'll pull the top end up. Get that bottom end pulled out of the mud. Oh yeah, that's at least a 2-year-old. That's at least a 2-year-old.
Nice one.
A lot of people don't realize how big beaver actually are, but this is a good one. A little better than average, but they'll get to, this is probably a 40 pounder, maybe a 45. They'll get to 60 though pretty easily, so definitely a good beaver. Absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, we are checking another trap right now. There is no immediate beaver dam here. There's like something up there, but it looks like, you think you got one here?
Absolutely. So how I can tell, I walk down here and you can see my rebar, my drowner here, and my swivel is gone, my slide, that little square lock. I don't see it anywhere, which means it's on the bottom of this drowner, which generally means we've got something down there. So.
All right, let's see what you got.
Before I even do that, if you look right here, this was my stick with caster. Look at the claw marks and stuff on the side of this bank. We've had a lot of activity here from other beaver. Definitely good feeling we got one here.
Well, turn your GoPro on too, man. Don't forget to get some footage.
I will here a little later.
There it is.
Yeah. It's either a really big 1-year-old or a really small 2-year-old. You don't see the tails that narrow very often. But yes, there's no beaver lodge, there's no beaver dam, there's nothing here. But we just got a good body of water, and these beaver are moving up and down them. That's all this is.
Now you said it looked like there were other beavers that came in to investigate as well after this was already trapped?
That's what it looks like. Either he got to the bank before he got trapped, or we had another beaver come in after him. We actually got another set here right behind you.
Yeah.
We'll walk down there and see what we got in that. Now this right here, you know how I talked about the caster mounds that they make? They're territorial. This is that right here. This is all beaver. Beaver take mud from the bottom, they smear it up on top. There's a little more right there next to you too. That's all them. They're secreting their caster into that, basically telling every other beaver, hey, this is my area, stay out. And that's what we're using as lure, triggering that response. This one's gone too.
A double, baby.
Hopefully.
Woohoo! Does seem like a hot spot. Yeah.
Two. Not the biggest beaver in the world, but another thing I can tell by catching these smaller ones, we do have a colony somewhere close by. These small beaver generally don't go much farther than probably 150, 200 yards from their den. So we've got a colony living in here somewhere.
All right.
But absolutely, I'll take a double. Awesome.
All right, the next thing we did is we actually checked several other traps before we discussed a little bit more about what he's doing.
All right, so that's set. You didn't catch one on that,
Nope.
so you
Nope.
just keep going?
Yes, you know, we can still see the caster stick up there. It might be hard to tell on camera, but it's up on the bank under that grass. And, you know, nothing in it. It's under the right depth of water, so we're moving on. That's all we can do.
I also wanted to mention, throwing this in, that we are going to get together at some point in the not too distant future and do a bow fishing video together. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to both our channels to see what happens in that outing.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Woo!
I don't see the slide. Alright guys, here we are on what I'm almost going to call the Old Faithful location again. Highway's busy today.
Yeah.
But I took in, I think we've got 2 off of here already. Slide's gone again, but then again that water came up. Like I said, I checked some of these. You can see how high that water was. I mean, we got it all the way up into here. You know, it's a couple foot higher than what I like, but bottom end was not in there very well. There's weight on it though.
Ta-da!
Hey, there we go. That's a good one. That's a nice flat tail. Might have to have Sean try setting one of these straps here in a little bit.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot better than I thought we would be today with that high water. I think some of these fresh sets that we made yesterday are really helping things out.
Well, and also I said a little prayer to the Lord for a blessing, and I think He's just unleashing the blessing.
We need it. We definitely needed it. But yeah, guys, that's. Whoa.
Seems like the older ones have yellower teeth.
They're not flossing well.
No.
We'll get him out of here, guys, and get down the road. We got a lot of stuff to check yet. too. They never stop growing.
Yeah.
They have to continuously chew.
Yeah.
Probably this fall. Oh, that snake's in there good.
Little one.
Wow, that might be the smallest beaver that I have ever caught.
Amazing.
Wow. Almost looks like a big muskrat. That's just crazy. A lot of rocks in here, so it's kind of tough to balance this one out. Gonna recaster up our stick here. Don't take a whole lot. Stick it in the bank. I don't even see the stick on the other trap over here. Oh yeah, I do. It's up here in the cove. Another thing we had, if you look, there's a little bit of muskrat tracks in here. Having that trap so far back and deep, really helps to make sure I don't get a lot of non-target catches. Kind of, helps eliminate any possibility of coon or muskrats or things like that. Alrighty, well, we got a little one. It's better than nothing. So on to the next spot, guys.
All right, well, I want to thank you for letting me run some traps with you today. Hopefully in the fall we can make something work for raccoon. It's gonna be tough because it's during the deer rut, but I might be able to make it work. But we'll definitely be meeting up for some bow fishing this summer or spring or something.
Sometime, for sure.
All right, so it's been a successful trap.
Absolutely.
How often do you come back and have a successful trap? I mean, is there times where you show up and you're like, oh, I thought this was going to give me a beaver, and now I've got nothing in my trap?
Absolutely,
I mean, what's the odds? What can people expect to get into this?
That's a tough question to answer. You got so many variables in that. On my first check, if I come out and I have a 30% success rate, that's pretty good odds.
All right.
It's nothing, you're not going to catch one every time. Right. They call us trapping for a reason. It's not, you're not going out and getting something every single day.
Not a guarantee, like hunting's not
Absolutely,
a guarantee, yeah.
It's never a guarantee.
So how many traps do you got to set to be successful? Like, we've got one set here. How many more will you set today to give yourself good odds of harvesting some beaver?
Oh, I'll shoot for 15 or 20 at least.
Okay.
And hopefully tomorrow that gives us 3, 4, 5 beaver.
Okay.
I'd be very tickled with that.
Okay. What are some of the most common newbie mistakes you hear of guys making?
Oh boy, common newbie mistakes. Trap placement.
Trap placement.
We just talked about that a little bit ago, about how you want that trap offset, the placement of the depth of the water. A lot of people like to put that trap dead center in the middle.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, honestly, in my opinion, they get it in their head that I set that trap, it's going to have an animal tomorrow. And the fact is, it may not.
Right.
And when you're just starting off, you're going to have more misses than successful catches.
Now, have you ever come up on a trap and it's been a miss? It's gone off.
Absolutely.
And you don't have a beaver?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you usually, is there something you can learn from like your set, like on a particular location? If you didn't get something, but it was triggered, is it indicate something to you like, hey, do I need to go deeper in the water, shallower, to the side more? I mean, what's some processing?
A lot of things, if I have a miss, you can look at the trap itself, and there might be a little bit of scuff of fur in that. Okay. That means you weren't deep enough and you weren't offset enough. Okay. He came in and he hit it with his chest.
Ah, gotcha.
And it snapped on his chest. Animal's perfectly fine.
He didn't like that.
No.
All
it's gonna do is,
wow.
All it'll do is scare him, which will make him harder to catch later on,
exactly.
Going to that caster, because now he associates that caster with fear. Makes it harder to catch, but we all make mistakes. I'm learning just like anybody else.
Do you ever catch multiple beaver at the same location and trap, or is it usually one and done kind of a thing?
Oh no, absolutely. Since this spring, I've already, the one creek system I've caught 5 on.
Okay.
So, you know, these beaver are traveling.
Traveling, okay.
I've had a double already this year once too. So, yeah, it's
What you mean? You had 2 traps set at one location?
2 traps side by side and had 2 beaver in them.
Okay.
So pretty cool. Long way to carry them out.
Did you have a good inkling that you could have multiple catches at that location, which is why you set 2 traps, or what was the reason for you deciding I'm going to set 2 traps at this location?
It was just a bigger system of water.
Okay.
Not necessarily a system of water where just these 2-year-olds are traveling, trying to find their own territory, but there's multiple colonies living on those big waterways.
Okay.
A lot better chances to catch more beaver.
Okay.
But at the same time, there's a lot more water fluctuation with rain and everything else. So, you know, that you have a lot more work in your traps to keep them operational with the
Right.
fluctuating water.
Okay. Any other tips you have for newbies at beaver trapping?
Go out and have fun.
Go out and have fun.
Go out and have
You know,
fun.
one thing we rode over here together, and you mentioned something to me that really caught my attention, and that is to be, let's say, more efficient. You set a lot of traps near roadways. So
Absolutely.
we're actually standing underneath the overpass we drove in on. And explain a little bit of that to us, if you don't mind, before we close out.
Yeah. So here in Iowa, it is public road right-of-way, as they call it, 33 feet from the center of the road out. That means you can trap basically the road ditches here in Iowa. Sometimes a little farther, sometimes a little narrower. But yes, most of all my trapping, especially my beaver trapping, it's all going to be underneath these bridges. Find these waterways, these water systems. Instead of going back into fields, getting permission, you know, worried about rain, having to bring a 4-wheeler side by side, I can efficiently drive this road and just walk underneath it every time I check and be right back to the truck.
Yeah. Now, we happen to have a beaver dam right underneath this bridge. How often does that happen? How often do they put them right there where it's nice and convenient for the trapper? I mean, why isn't it 100 yards up the stream? Like, how often does that happen?
It's not extremely common, but it happens more than a lot of people think.
Okay.
I think they actually use like the bridge pillars to their advantage.
Okay.
To kind of help, kind of a natural funnel way anyway.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. And then, have you ever had anybody mess with your equipment or steal it?
Oh yes, yes. Trapping in the road ditches, you have a lot of people up to no good running around. Especially when the fur was really profitable here back in about 2013 when furs were really valuable. You had a lot of theft. You had a lot of people. I've had people literally come and skin my raccoons and put the carcass back in the trap. Just a lot of people up to no good.
Yeah. How long does it take you to skin a beaver or a raccoon? Or
for a beaver, you know, 15-20 minutes I can get it skinned, harvest the skull, harvest the castor glands off them, because the glands are actually worth pretty good money, as well as the oil sacs on them. There's a lot to be harvested on these animals. People look at it as just fur, but there's skulls, there's organs, there's glands, there's everything you can think of. There's a market for them.
So, off of one beaver, how much do you potentially earn on an average year?
Oh boy, on an average beaver, I'm probably looking at about $30 to $35 with everything I harvest off.
So it is a lot of work. It's not
Absolutely.
like it's not like you're going to get rich quick.
Nope.
You got to love it. I think it's more of a
labor
hobby.
of love.
It's a hobby / little bit of income for those of you who are considering it. But it's something to do. I mean, here we are. With the frost just came off.
Yep.
And we actually have a warm day, so we're only in a sweatshirt right now. But it's supposed to hit 70 today.
Yes.
So these will be shed
warm
by the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
But so it's something to do as the spring breaks, and we're waiting for me while we wait for spring gobbler to come in. But you also have to have the time to take care of the animal, to take care of all those components.
Yes.
If you want to learn how to do that, go to his YouTube channel, Iowa Trapper, and I'm sure you have. I've seen some of your videos where you've been. I think the first one I watched was a skunk, actually.
Probably.
And your wonderful wife was filming for you.
Yes.
But you could definitely check out his channel for a lot more on trapping, successful trapping, processing of the animals. So definitely check it out. And so if you want to see what happens in the rest of the trap line, check out the video. I will put a link for the video he's going to make from today's outing, and I hope you will check that out.
Perfect.
Thank you for taking us out today, Iowa Trapper.
Absolutely.
And until next time, take care and God bless.
Thanks, guys.